You know, August 28th, 2019, it was a it was a very, very dark day for Shawn Porter. As you can see here by the picture, that left hook that Errol Spence Jr., you know what I'm saying, caught Shawn Porter in the 11th round, you know what I'm saying, separated everything the judges needed to give Errol Spence Jr. the fight. But little did Errol Spence Jr. know that he would be making an enemy for life. From hell's heart, I stab thee. It's the code that Shawn Porter, you know what I'm saying, feels inside his heart. He hates Errol Spence Jr. Can't stand him. From hell's heart, I spit at thee. You know what I'm saying? He rushed into the media, you know what I'm saying, the media world on Porterway Podcast, and even his co-hosts are looking at him crazy. They're looking at him crazy because it was funny that he had Ugas up by 4 rounds, bro. He had Ugas up 4 rounds, and the little fat kid. Well, I ain't gonna call him a kid. He's a man, but you know, the little fat co-host. He was like, "What fight were you watching?" Yeah, I didn't see that fight, and I don't think nobody seen that fight. Everybody knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? Shawn, I don't know. It was swing rounds. I don't know. It was swing rounds in there. Wasn't no goddamn swing rounds. It was that hate from that left hook. That left hook that lost you the fight. You know what I'm saying? That's what caused you to give Ugas 4 rounds. Just like when Keith Thurman, which you probably went back, Shawn Porter probably went back and looked at the tape and saw what Keith Thurman had gave him every goddamn round that they fought. You know what I'm saying? When Shawn Porter and Errol Spence Jr. were fighting, he's like, hey, and they brought it over to Keith Thurman. They said, Keith Thurman, well, how did you see the fight? I see Porter winning all rounds. He's won all 5 rounds. I was like, oh my goodness. I said, these motherfuckers right here, they hate Errol Spence Jr. and Keith Thurman. He don't even have a reason to hate Errol Spence Jr. except for that he was born and he was a threat to his reign and that he ran him off the throne. That's where his hate come in. And Shawn hate comes in from this left hook that you see here on the screen. And he trained his ass off. And he knew he wasn't going to be the same fight after that. Once you give something your all and you fail, you be fucked up. Be fucked up by it. And he feels some kind of way. I bet you if Earl offered Shawn Porter a fight today, Shawn Porter would train his ass off and fight Errol Spence Jr. He would fold up that Porterway Podcast, or he would bring their ass on in. You know what I'm saying? He would accept that fight because he disliked, for some reason, his competitive juices are just, you know what I'm saying, inflated when it comes to Errol Spence Jr. Because that motherfucker, he did not fight Crawford like that. He don't give a shit about fighting Crawford. I don't know why. When everybody fight Errol Spence Jr., they want to fight their best. They want to be at their best. You know? And why they all should be fighting each other like that. But they don't. You know, Keith rather just not, he just didn't want to partake. Right? So now that Keith has lost his old to Pacquiao, now he wants to fight everybody, right? Even though he's clearly not the same competitive fighter and something going on with his body, you know what I'm saying? Because soon as you thump that nigga's stomach, you know what I'm saying, he is going down. That nigga mouthpiece come out, you know what I'm saying? I have never seen a fighter who can take his mouthpiece out with a glove and put it back in. But that nigga can do it. So I say it all, let's say this, you know what I'm saying? It's a whole different level when Errol Spence opponents come at him because they know he's the best, but they don't want to give him that title. They give Terrence Crawford that title because they want to diss Errol Spence Jr. because they see he's doing the heavy lifting in the division, right? But they don't want to acknowledge that shit, right? This man done had car crashes and he had eye surgery for the detached eye retina, right? So why can't they just give the man his goddamn credit? The man got an incredible story. It's better than goddamn Rocky Balboa, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, they just do not want to give this man his credit. You know what I'm saying? They can't bow down to it. You just got beat, Shawn. You know what I'm saying? You escaped a loss with Ugas, you know? And then you're going to give Ugas 4 rounds of that Errol Spence Jr. Udanis Ugas fight. You gave him 4 rounds. And so to top it off, you know what I'm saying, Brian Custard interviewed him and interviewed Shawn Porter. And of course, Shawn Porter, you know, always looking like John Cougar Camp or some shit like that. Always looking like some weirdo. You know what I'm saying? Always wearing tight shirts and, you know what I'm saying, just off. You know what I'm saying? Either way. You know, Brown was like, hey, you know, who you think gonna win? Who you think is better? You fought both of them. You know what I'm saying? You fought Errol Spence Jr., you fought Terrence Crawford. Who you think's better? And of course, like clockwork, you could have guessed it, right? He says that Crawford is better. He's pound for pound #1, right? And you should think Brian Custard's face. Like, okay, what? I'm like, Brian, what the hell do you expect this guy to say? Right? You know, this guy got left hooked by Errol Spence Jr. What you think he gonna say? If I get my ass whipped, I ain't got nothing good to say about you. You know what I'm saying? If somebody beat my ass, you know what I'm saying, I'm not gonna be sitting up here and say that nigga #1. That ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? So Shawn Porter said Crawford Crawford is better because he tried to beat you, you know what I'm saying, with his game plan. He tried to get you to fight his fight, and Errol Spence Jr. tried to beat you at your fight, what you're good at, right? Which is true. But what he failed to mention was that Terrence Crawford, he throws away his game plan and fight dog for dog when he gets hit with a good shot, right? He just throws his entire game plan. He stop all that fancy boxing shit, and he go mano, right? And I just thought that was like a glaring, omission. You know, it's like a glaring omission. Like, I want to yell, hey, what about when Crawford get hit? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, this is like, no, you know, Terrence Crawford's just better because he tried to beat you at his game, right? And I'm wondering about Brian Custard. You know, so I guess he just didn't want to challenge him on the point. You know what I'm saying? And he just wanted, you know, to let Shawn have this little hateful moment. But even on the podcast, when Shawn was all shook for words, trying not to look like a big ass hater, even his homeboy was like, "You might be a Errol Spence Jr. hater." You know what I'm saying? And when the white guy was like, "I didn't see the same fight that you saw," and then you saw the little skinny one that worked for Fight Height, he was trying to wave him off. You know, when Shawn was looking at the fat kid who was saying that, he was trying to wave him off. And I was like, oh, they trying to do some damage control here because Shawn looking like a big old hater here, and trying to get him off the subject. You know what I'm saying? Because they already know what it was. If you look at that fight, could you give Ugas 2 rounds? I couldn't. I didn't see it. I would have gave him maybe the 6 when he hit Errol Spence Jr. off the break. That was about as close as Ugas got before the eye collector got the eye. Right? Well, that's what we're going to have to start calling him. You know what I'm saying? Like my boy Marlo say, you know what I'm saying? He almost racked up 3 eyes. You know what I'm saying? He almost racked up 3 eyes. He almost got Danny Garcia eye too. So, you know, there's only one more eye to get. You know what I'm saying? It's only one more eye to get, and that'll be Bud Crawford. Now, nobody ain't saying that Bud Crawford don't have a chance in this fight to win, because he do. I wouldn't even want to see the damn fight if I just knew Errol Spence Jr. was going to go in there and wash him. You know what I'm saying? I want to see something spectacular. I want to see some back and forth. I want to see some drama. You know what I'm saying? I want to see some adversity. I want to see fighters. I want to see Errol Spence Jr. overcome adversity, because if you think about it, Terrence Crawford is a real puzzle. You know what I'm saying? To solve. Now, what I think is that Errol Spence Jr. have the intangibles to power through whatever Crawford can throw at him. I think he has all the intangible. He has the punch resistance. He has the defense, enough defense to parry off and close the gap. Because that's let's be honest. You know, Terrence Crawford, when he's setting those traps, that's when he's most dangerous. When he get into his rhythm and he's seen everything you needed to see, and he start rocking back and forth and trying to walk you into, you know what I'm saying, power shots. But we know the game plan. When you already know that going in, it's not like you don't have a choice to but run into his traps. No, bruh. No, when you putting on constant pressure and you don't allow a nigga to reset, that's going to be a problem for Bud. He's not going to be able to run for 12 rounds with somebody putting their foot in your ass 247. That's what people are trying to tell you. It's not going to be a pure boxing match. You know, Errol Spence Jr. is a rough dude. You know what I'm saying? He can box you, but if he knows he got to stay on the inside to negotiate and clear that no man's land without getting caught or falling into a trap, that's what he's going to do. Bud is not that. He is not that fast afoot to where Errol Spence Jr. can't close that distance. You know what I'm saying? And get on the inside. He is not. See, what they're forgetting is you are looking at, I think most fans are looking at the level of competition that Terrence Crawford was able to do that on. It's different when you have somebody just as good, when you have somebody who's just as athletic, who's just as tough. Now you don't have those advantages, which you're trying to see. So you're trying to apply, a lot of Bud Crawford fans are trying to apply the things he was able to do. And see, it's like when I watched Butiev fight, you know what I'm saying, I didn't take into account Butiev and stay honest. I didn't take into account that they're both stepping up. They're both stepping up on another level. You know what I'm saying? Butiev looked a little more athletic. He looked a little more stronger. He looked a little quicker. But when they actually got in the ring, it was Stanionis. It was Stanionis who had the faster jab, who had the best fundamentals. And that's what I'm telling you. Crawford has never fought a fighter of this caliber in Errol Spence Jr. And what I'm telling you is that Errol Spence Jr. fighting Danny Garcia, fighting Shawn Porter, fighting Mikey Garcia, this has prepared him, and fighting Ugas. This has prepared him for the different styles and the different angles. Think about the looping shots of Terrence Crawford. Think about that. Think about the looping punches of Ugas, right? And he was rusty at the time. and he started catching it. First he got caught, and once he got his feet up under him, he started catching those shots. You know what I'm saying? With his gloves. At first the timing was off, and he was getting caught around his guard. But then later on in the fight, he started catching that stuff. But that was because of the layoff. But think about it. When he hits the gym and he goes back and work on these things, you know what I'm saying? Getting away from the layoff, man, it's going to be tough, bro, for Terrence Crawford to last in that fight. Because the pressure he put on Ugas was so relentless. And this was a Errol Spence Jr. coming off a 16-month layoff, right? The pressure he put on Ugas was so relentless. Now think about it when he get right. Think about when he get right. He was able to throw, you know what I'm saying, 100 punches, right? So that's with a 16-month layoff. I'm trying to belabor that point. So imagine when he go back to the lab and he really gets his strengthening, conditioning routine going, you know what I'm saying? And we already know what kind of workhorse he is inside the gym. Now, I'm not saying that Crawford ain't going to pump it up to another level, but he's 34, y'all. Let me tell you something. I've been 34, and I've been 32. 32 is better than 34 as far as youth, as far as vitality, as far as being closer to your prime, bro. Errol Spence Jr. is in his prime right now. You know, Terrence Crawford is at stage where he's slowing down. He may not even know it yet. He may not even know it yet till he get into that ring and he get hit by a fucking left hook to the fucking head, and then he get hooked, then he get hit in the goddamn stomach, and his goddamn ribs hurting. You know what I'm saying? By the fourth or fifth round, Terrence Crawford gonna be thinking about how he can get up out of that fight. By the fourth, fifth round, he gonna be thinking, how the hell can I get out of this fight? Because I don't want to get knocked out by Errol Spence Jr. because of all this rivalry shit that's been going on for the last 5 years, right? He don't want to. He may hit. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you something. I do predict. I predict Terrence Crawford gonna hit Errol Spence Jr. low. I think he's gonna hit him low because his pride. He's such a prideful motherfucker. You remember when Zab Judah and Errol Spence and Floyd Mayweather fought? You remember that fight? You remember the rivalry that they had? You know what I'm saying? Because you know Zab Judah was the, you know what I'm saying? You know he was that dude at the time. You know what I'm saying? He was the you know he became the undisputed, you know, welterweight champion back then, right? So Floyd Mayweather went out there, you know what I'm saying, even though they knew each other and they were cool and everything, you know, when they fought, it was just like this. You know what I'm saying? The energy between them was just like the energy between Bud and Errol Spence Jr. So Zab Judah, you know, he started out the fight and he was beating Floyd Mayweather. You know, he was faster, you know what I'm saying? He was getting off that hook, you know what I'm saying, and beating Floyd to the punch. Floyd couldn't really fuck with him. Then Floyd knew that he was a 6-round fighter. So he started walking down Zab Judah. Then when Zab Judah felt Floyd Mayweather power, he felt his technique breaking him down. And when he figured out that Floyd Mayweather was taking him into deep waters, he hit him low. And that's when Roger Mayweather came out trying to choke Zab Judah. And everybody jumped in the ring. Go check that fight out. If my young homies and my young boxing heads haven't seen that fight, go check that fight out. Everybody jumped in the ring. And it was a brawl for about 4 or 5 minutes, right? You know, they could have disqualified Floyd, but they came back and Floyd finished and won a decision, right? So I'm saying all that to say this, that, when you have fighters who feel this strongly about winning, you know what I'm saying? I believe because of the momentum, you know what I'm saying, the energy, you know what I'm saying, of the entire rivalry is the advantage goes to Errol Spence Jr. because he's the young, up and coming, hungry lion. You know what I'm saying? So he's the young prince. You know what I'm saying, in the story, and Terrence Crawford is let's face it, man, he's the villain. You know what I'm saying? He's the villain in the story, even though Errol Spence Jr. fans are Terrence Crawford fans, but the way Terrence Crawford moves, it just make you, is you can't relate, bro. As long as I've been watching boxing, I have never seen a fighter move like Terrence Crawford. He moves in a very strange, way where men can't identify with how he's moving. You know what I'm saying? And people think that's like cool nowadays. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But it ain't a different that it's not like it's a difference that's manly. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference where it's moody and it's emotional and it's it's just it's unseemly, really. You know what I'm saying? So what we want to see is Terrence Crawford, like he said, you know, he's ready for this fight. You know what I'm saying? Now it looked like Terrence Crawford is finally starting to come around. You know what I'm saying? With the energy of being aggressive towards this fight, of making this fight happen, right? He looked like he's starting to get, he told Errol Spence Jr. he liked this energy and that, you know what I'm saying, after he, whips Earl, he's going to go after his cheerleader, Jamel Charlo, right? So, they've been building up, you know what I'm saying, that their little animosity towards each other. So, but, he needs to concentrate on Errol Spence Jr. because that's going to be the one. That's going to, he can't get to Jamel Charlo unless he beat Errol Spence Jr., right? He can't do it. So it will behoove him to keep his eyes on the prize. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence Jr. right now is back in the gym. He was with Marvis Jarvis, his friend, you know what I'm saying, his childhood friend, and, they're training right now. You know what I'm saying? He's right back in the gym trying to work out them problems. Trying to work out them problems that he had in the fight. So when the next time you see Errol Spence Jr., he ain't gonna be getting caught, you know what I'm saying, with those over the top hooks and, jabs, you know what I'm saying, that Ugas was able to catch him with. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna learn how to control that anxiousness to get in and start fighting. What kind of game plan? And this is something else you haven't thought about. This is something else you didn't think about. He fought Ugas differently than he fought Mikey Garcia. Then he fought Shawn Porter. Then he fought Danny Garcia. He fought him in a different way. Y'all got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. Stop hating and pay attention to the sport. He fought him different. So this man got styles, y'all. That's something y'all not understanding because you don't want to see it. You don't want to believe it. But he got styles. The man got different styles. Yeah, he's aggressive. Yeah, he keep the activity up. But he got different ways of coming at you. You know what I'm saying? And who knows what Derek James is going to cook up for Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is very crafty. But guess what? What if you take away his ability to calculate, right? You need time to calculate. Bud needs time. I've seen him. I've seen all his fights. He needs time, and his opponents. One thing about his opponents, they all gave him time to calculate. When Bud hit him with something, you know what I'm saying? They were hesitant to come in. That's not gonna happen with EJ, y'all. EJ gonna walk through that shit. You know what I'm saying? And continue his attack. He's gonna have to. I seen him hold on to Jeff Horn, but we know how EJ get down on the inside. We know how he get down. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna break that hold and work with that offhand, and it's gonna be a constant motion of fighting. And Terence Crawford gonna have to figure out what he gonna do. He's gonna have to figure out what he gonna do, how he gonna get some space. You know what I'm saying? And I know his fans think that all he needs is an instant to crack Errol Spence Jr. And that might be true. That might be true. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because I have seen Bud Crawford with that short right uppercut. You know what I'm saying? I've seen him use it. You know, I think it was against Diaz. He was using a little bit of inside fighting. But the master of inside fighting belongs to Errol Spence Jr. That is his realm. That is his world. You know what I'm saying? That's where he operates, bro. You know what I'm saying? He can go fuck around and go down there if he want to and try to outdog Errol Spence Jr. They're gonna knock all the goddamn Nebraska corn out his ass. That's what's gonna happen. They're gonna knock all the goddamn. It's gonna be a lot of corn every goddamn well, all over the ring. You know what I'm saying? If he decide to go mano mano with Errol Spence Jr., but I tell you what, that'll be one of the best. That'll be one of the best fights of the year. Probably one of the best fights of the decade. So we need to understand that this fight here is going to be historical. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be up there on Mount Rushmore. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be Errol Spence Jr. face and Bud Crawford face with a broken orbital bone. Yep. We're going to put that, we're going to make sure they tap that in and shit. You know, because he's going to get Bud eye too. But that's all I got. That has been Cool Kind of Boxing. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to my channel for more hardcore boxing content. And like I say, y'all, law don't go around here, law dog. It's happening. You ain't no Daisy. See you in the next one.